The top stories tonight. Harvey, Irma, Maria and Nate have been retired from the Atlantic naming list and will be replaced by new names. And the first UK heatwave of 2018 is now on the forecast. So today's main story is that the World Meteorological Organization, in their most recent meeting of nations around the Atlantic basin and all around the world, but for the Atlantic in particular, they've retired 4 of the names from 2017's Atlantic hurricane season. Harvey, of course, which impacted the coast of Texas and the rest of the United States eventually with flooding. Hurricane Irma, of course, which affected a multitude of countries throughout its everlasting almost route. It felt like it was going on forever. Hurricane Maria, which of course struck the Caribbean nations again, striking Dominica as a Category 5 and striking Puerto Rico near that intensity. And Hurricane Nate, which impacted Central America before moving on to the United States via Mexico, just about grazing the coast almost of the Yucatan. The storms that were retired will be replaced with 4 other names of the same letter in 2023, the next time this naming list comes around. Harvey's replacement is Harold, Irma's replacement is Idalia, Maria's replacement is Margot, and Nate's replacement name for 2023 will be Nigel. And with commentary on what they think of those names right now is 2 of our team. First of all, from Scotland, I'd like Craig's take on it. Craig, what are your thoughts of those new names?
Well, first the retiree names. Harvey, well, let's be brutally honest, there was no real question about it not being retired. Irma, it was the same. Maria's the exact same, but the replacement, Nate, I'm still begging to differ. But the replacement names, Idalia sounds horrible. I don't really like the sound of the name. And Margot, I still don't like. But Harold and Nigel, they're pretty good replacement names for Harvey and Nigel for Nate.
Alright, Dane, what are your thoughts of those new names?
Like I think Nigel is fine. Harold seems a little old school, but it definitely fits as a hurricane name in general. But Idalia and Marja just honestly sound like garbage. Honestly,
Garbage.
They are just old class names that are so 1700. I would have rather had some newer class names. Like if I was the one.
What would you know that the 1700s are like?
They just sound like the 1700s, Craig, okay? I am not 300 years old, and I am not immortal, okay?
And moving it on, what are your thoughts on the actual decision to retire those storm names? Do you agree with them all?
Retiring those storms is justified, yes.
Craig?
Nate, I'm wanting to question what their reasoning was. If it's only for one reason, such as it needing a speeding ticket going through the Gulf of Mexico, then that's not enough for me. But the others, I'd be absolutely stupid if I said they should not be retired. There's every damn right that they should be retired. With Harvey especially, he had pretty much as soon as he made landfall, and as soon as if you started hearing the major effects he was having. Flooding, you knew right away he was going to get retired. You'd be amazed if he didn't. Irma was pretty much the same as soon as it reached Category 5, and it hit, then eventually hit Florida as a Category 4 with half an eye wall, pretty much. And then Maria was pretty much straightforward. It's near enough a Cat 5 landfall on Puerto Rico.
All right,
so,
Dane, your thoughts on Nate?
I think it's justified to retire Nate. I don't think it was necessarily for, as Craig said, getting a speeding ticket in the Gulf of Mexico. I think what rather happened is that I think Costa Rica probably requested that it was retired because Nate was worse for them than Otto was last year, and if Otto ended up retire by them, I don't see, frankly, any reason why they wouldn't retire Nate.
Alright, thank you very much, guys. So that's the story from the Atlantic, and it's going to be another interesting year in 2018. Force 13 released its Atlantic prediction last week, calling for 12 named storms, but for potentially impactful tracks affecting the US East Coast. Also in the news this week, we've been looking at the US and how there is a heat wave or two coming up there, and amongst a few cold waves. It's very topsy-turvy on the weather scene at the moment, as is the case in the UK as well, but the latest is the models are strongly indicating that there's going to be a significant heat wave for parts of the United Kingdom next week, particularly in England, especially towards the east and southeast. Now I'm joined by Michael Scott, who's joining us from the southern part of England. And what are your thoughts on this development?
Well, looking at the latest forecast, I'm a bit skeptical with the range of the forecast at the moment. Looking around London, looking into early next week, it's picking up, and it's noticing that it's just a clear run through most of the week. It's
a clear run. What do you mean by that?
It's like it's just very gradual going up, and then it sort of just drops off after a while. It's just I know the weather. It's been rather erratic in the last month or two, because when we had that snow at the start of March and in the middle of March as well, and then it's suddenly gone. From this time a month ago, it was sub-zero temperatures, and now possibly going up to like 21 degrees. So just on that basis, I'm a little bit skeptical on the forecast at the moment.
Now, what we were looking at yesterday was the GFS saying that the temperatures could get as high as 24 in parts of eastern England. What are you looking at now?
I'm currently looking at the forecast for London, and also I do have a forecast up for the Far East in Maidstone, which sort of a major city over in Kent. And it's the forecast over there as well. It's a little top temperature over Maidstone's 21. So I don't know.
21 on what day?
It's on Friday the 20th, which seems to be the warmest day out of all of them.
Yes.
This day I've actually got my theory test booked as well.
I see.
So I'm going to be sat in a little test office when it's just boiling outside.
Yeah. All right. Well, that remains to be seen, I suppose. But if it does occur and the temperatures go into the 20s in the later part of April, that will be mirroring almost. If you want some climatological analogues, we'll be looking at similar occasions happened in 2003 and in 2011, and we know what one of those years provided.
It was the hosepipe ban that year, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the hottest temperatures were recorded, hottest on record for London and the southeast. Although not in other parts of the country, as I always like to mention, including my part of the country here near Manchester. The warmest temperature here was still was set on August the 2nd, 1990. But there we are. We're going a little bit ahead of ourselves there. So, percentage chances, sunbathing weather. What do you think for next week?
Based on the forecast alone, I'd probably say about 60-70%, but
wow,
given recent climate, I'd give it a 40% chance, taking into account recent weather events as well as the forecast.
Well, you know what some people here are like. They'll go out, they'll find any excuse to go out, and as soon as the sun comes out ever so slightly and we get to 12 degrees Celsius, they'll come running out with wearing hardly anything. That's what it's like up north, anyway, Michael.
Well, no, it's also actually in the middle of a blizzard. You still have that one guy
Yeah.
that goes out in shorts and a shirt.
Thanks for joining us, Michael. I'm sure we'll catch up again at some point.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you. So that's the current situation in the UK, and now let's go and take a look at what's going on weather-wise around the world. News out of Nepal today, nearly 3 years after the devastating earthquake there, is that 30,000 families are still struggling to rebuild their homes, and there's little prospect for many of that happening even in the next 5 years. A state of emergency has been declared on Ambai Island in Vanuatu as the volcano Manaro Vari continues to spew ash, reaching 1 centimetre deep in some parts of the island. Severe weather in India, heavy rain and strong winds have killed 44 and have injured at least 124. And let us know about the weather in your backyard. If you have a local story or any footage for us, do send it in at any of our social outlets or directly by email, contact@force13.com. And now we're going to take a look at what we're expecting on April the 13th, Friday, in the United States and possibly beyond. Taking a look at the latest severe weather outlook. And now I'm going to cross over to Leighton Holland, one of our contributors who specialises in that field a lot more than I. So take it away.
Hello there. I'm to take you through tomorrow's severe weather threat along the southern and central United States, and I'll start with the Storm Prediction Center outlook for tomorrow. And at the moment, they're calling for an enhanced risk across parts of Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Missouri, by Arkansas and Missouri. And what's that state in North? Oh god.
Iowa as well, yes.
Yes, Iowa. That's it. It's possible it might be upgraded to a moderate risk from what I've seen in earlier outlooks, and consists of a mainly very large hail threat and significant wind damage with a few embedded tornadoes, which some could be strong.
Now, for the time of year, is this a typical setup here that we're looking at?
This is the typical setup for this time of year, yes.
Okay, well, take us through the simulated radar imagery that you've got up there.
Okay.
Now, this is a simulation. How accurate is it, or has it proven to be in the past?
The NAMI is one of the best ones at doing this simulated radar imagery. The HRRR is the best at doing it, but that won't be going out far enough until tomorrow.
Okay.
Oh god, I'm lagging.
So the timing? Oh,
Looks
here we
like
go.
Storms will be firing at about 15Z and should go to Texas. Should become severe by 21Z over parts of Arklatex region. Going out into
there it comes.
Arkansas, where they should become more tornadic.
So we're looking at the early evening hours there.
Yeah, this is the early evening hours, where the threat of some strong tornadoes may exist. There is talk of an upgrade to a moderate risk, as I already said, but they're waiting to get to the day one outlook before they confirm that, to see how the conditions are going to change, because it's still quite uncertain exactly how it's going to initiate. But once that happens, they will be doing that and deciding what to do. Oh god.
And how much, keep going on through the animation there, how does it evolve throughout the evening?
It should carry on across the central United States, and day 3, whilst uncertain at the moment, is an enhanced risk for parts of Alabama and Mississippi. That should be more
Coming
of a
into
squall line.
Saturday there, yeah.
Should be more of a squall line threat, and by day 4, that's Monday. On Monday,
You've missed Sunday, though.
Oh, Sunday, yes, that's what I was trying to say.
Right.
Oh god, my mouse is lagging. By Sunday, it should be moving out of the eastern US, where it should mostly be just hail and damaging winds within the stronger cells as it moves out into the Atlantic.
Looks like a large part of the country is going to feel something from this system, though.
It looks like it, yeah, and it is pretty typical for this time of year to see that sort of thing happen.
Is there any specific threat that you're concerned about here?
Probably the hail, to be honest. That seems to be the biggest threat out of this system, particularly for tomorrow. Whilst Sunday and Monday are uncertain at the... Sorry, Saturday and Sunday are uncertain at the moment. They are currently thinking about upgrades and changing things around as it evolves.
Sure. Anything else for us?
I could take you to the Weather Prediction Centre where there's a moderate risk for excessive rainfall tomorrow over the Arctic region.
So that's mainly in that enhanced zone, is it? And that's the highest potential for flooding, would you say?
Yes.
All right.
That would be the most likely area.
Well, of course, there'll be more information on that if it develops significantly on the main Force 13 channel during tomorrow. We'll see what happens with that. But thanks, Leighton, for that update, and I'm sure we'll have more to talk about this time tomorrow as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Well, that's all for now. Here's the list of storm names for tropical cyclones this year in 2018 around the world. As ever, you can follow Force 13's many outlets, the website, force13.com. You can also find our YouTube page, subscribe if you haven't already for the latest. We're also on Facebook, like our page on there, search Force 13 all in text, and follow our Twitter page, @Force13 is the handle. You can also add my Skype account, search Force 13 all in text, or Fool13, add extension 9094 on Discord for tropical weather chat.